Okay, writers, 10 minutes have started. We are going to talk about, I have something important to tell you today. But before I do, it's important to make sure we have a topic in mind for writing. So as a recap of some of the topics that we've gone over so far, how to find them, strategies for generating our personal narratives. We've written 2 so far, started 2. We've thought of a person, and I've added a place because you can also think of a place that is important to you, and list small moment stories that are connected to that person or place. Just like Mrs. Cook had talked about her daughter, she talked about important memories with her daughter and was able to expand on one of those. We've also talked about turning points last time. So the first time we did something. So I had expanded in my notebook the first time that I swam the mile, and I got started in my writing here. I moved that Post-it note over, and I started writing, there it is, long and strong, about the first time that I swam the mile. A new strategy today that we're going to talk about, which is why I have it underlined, that's today's strategy, but it's to think of a strong feeling that you've had, and list stories of particular times you felt that feeling and write about it. So I'm going to show you. So I'm going to open up the camera here so you'll be able to see all of this in the video as well. So this is why you have your sticky notes. Let me turn the light on here. I know the pink is hard to see. I always choose pink for the camera. But I listed some strong feelings that I've had in my life. The first feeling that I have felt before is devastation. That's one of our big juicy words to add drama to the story. It's like sadness, but extra sadness, a time that I was just totally devastated. Another feeling that I thought of was excitement. Not just happiness, but excitement. So I could think of some things in my life that helped me be excited. Another example of a feeling I've had in my life is anger. I could also put frustration or a time when I was furious, feeling furious. So those are some of our big juicy words as well. And I thought of another feeling here of humiliation. So that's like beyond embarrassment. That's a juicy word for I wasn't just embarrassed, I was totally humiliated. I would like everybody to turn and talk right now. See if you and your partner can each think of one feeling, and jot it. Actually, we won't jot yet. Just think of one feeling each, and we'll share out with the class. Turn and talk. I love how many people I see turning, and I love all the voices that I hear. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you can hear me, say I. I. Track the speaker, please. I heard a lot of I's, so I know you could hear me. What were some of those feelings that you thought of? I have 4 examples up here, but you may have thought of some other ones. Thank you, those of you who started tracking the speaker. I really appreciate that. To hear, what feeling did you come up with? Scared. A time you were scared. That's especially a good feeling for our spooky month of October, right? I love how many hands are up. I didn't even tell you how many hands I wanted. Jasmine. Terrified. Terrified. Matthew. Emotional. Ooh, very nice. That is a juicy one. Gracie. Surprised. Dominic. Happy. Thank you, those of you who are not talking over these shared feelings here. Anna. Nervous. Aaron. Joyful.
Excited.
Excited. I'm going to call on 3 more. Dominic. Embarrassment. TJ. Sadness. I see a couple people tracking the speaker. That's really respectful. Zach. Happy. Excellent. What I'd like you to do right now in your notebooks, I'm only going to give you about 1 minute, so we're watching our timer here. When I say go, you'll open up to a new page. Notice I wrote today's date, and then I wrote a heading of strong feelings. See if you can write down 1, 2, 3, or 4 feelings. You have 1 minute to do this, so when our timer's on the 4, we'll come back together. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, or 4 feelings. You have 45 seconds left to write down 1, 2, 3, or 4 feelings. So on those sticky notes, write on the page. So I did ask us to open our notebook. So I wasn't going to that. We do have 21 seconds left to write those feelings. I see Asia's gotten started, TJ's got him down. I see Dominic's got his down. 10 seconds. We'll come back together. If you can hear me, say aye. Aye. Last class.
Yes, yes, yes.
Eyes up here, please. I know you may not have gotten all of them, but you will be able to leave this carpet in 3 minutes and 50 seconds, as long as we've come back together and I have everybody's eyes. I have about 80% of the class looking up here. We're almost there. I'm looking for 100%. Eyes here. Thank you, fabulous. I'd love to have you off the carpet in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So what we're going to do today, I took my notebook here, and underneath the sticky note, I started writing exact moments where I felt devastation. So for example, one moment when I felt devastated is when I tried to get into music school and I did not get into music school. Another time I felt devastation is when I got a phone call that said my grandma had passed away. So those were times I felt devastated, and you may have some moments like that too. A time I felt excitement was on the first day of school. Class?
Yes, yes.
I'm going to pause this just so we can recollect ourselves. Thank you. And I hear some people trying to give their classmates friendly reminders because we know that the mini lesson is important to get the information so then we can jump into our writing. So I'll start our timer back up. So a time where I felt excitement, I wrote under here, was my first day of school. Some times where I felt anger, there was a time where my sister took my shoes, even though she had asked me and I told her no, and then she tried to do it behind my back and she still took my shoes anyways and wore them out the door. That was a time I felt angry. A time I felt humiliated, when I was in 2nd grade, I got in trouble once, and it was humiliating, so I will never forget that. I was talking in the cafeteria because I accidentally bit the sticker of my apple, and I thought it was like the craziest thing that I accidentally bit the sticker, but then they shut the lights off to get everyone's attention, and I was standing up and I was still telling my class, I ate the sticker, and one of the monitors had to come over me and tell me to sit down and be quiet, and I was so embarrassed because I had never gotten in trouble before. So that was when I was humiliated. But what I'm going to do in these last 2 minutes here, I'm going to pick one of these. I'm going to go with devastation. So I'm going to pick up my sticky note and move it to a fresh page. I've already put my date on it. And I'm going to write long and strong for the next 40 seconds here, so I'll demonstrate for you. Are we ready?
Yes.
So this is my personal story here. Class?
Yes, yes.
My personal narrative. Thank you, those of you who are still tracking the speaker. I really appreciate that. So, devastation. When I was growing up, so remember this is a personal story about me. When I was growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a music teacher. That's what I'm writing about, my moment of devastation. I had always played piano. And I knew that was what I wanted to do with my life. So when this timer goes off, I want to keep writing long and strong, but I'll go on to say music still is, but it was a huge part of my life. I played piano. I still play piano. And I went and auditioned for some music schools, actually with singing and not with, it's almost going to go off, with singing and not with piano. And I'll go on to talk about how I was totally devastated because I felt like I was a failure. But then it actually ended up being a good thing for me because had I made it into music school, I would not be here in this classroom now. I would be doing something totally different and never would have met any of you. So today, thank you those of you who have your pencils on the floor instead of tapping them around. And I see a lot of people just put them. Thank you for correcting that. Today, when you're writing, you already thought of 1, 2, 3, or 4 feelings. Choose one of them to write long and strong about a particular moment when you felt that feeling. I'm going to set our timer today for 45 minutes of writing. Actually, I'm going to do 40. We're right on track to stay on time today. So we're going to do class.
Yes.
We're going to write for 40 minutes, long and strong, about a feeling and a time where you felt that feeling. 1. 2. Thank you to those of you who are moving quietly. And 3. Here's your timer. Happy writing.